Hi, so today we are going to visit the San Agustin Church. So tara?
Alam niyo ba, this church is known as pinakamatandang stone church sa Pilipinas at natapos ito noong 1607. Ito rin ay part of the UNESCO's World Heritage Site under the Baroque Churches of the Philippine listings. And bukod doon, this church was also known for its resiliency after surviving numerous earthquakes and World War II. Grabe, no?
Its Baroque-style design arranges the facade with symmetrical elements such as the triangular pediment, rose window, as well as the pairs of Ionic column and Corinthian column naman sa taas. The main portal uses bas-relief carvings with natural motifs and Augustinian symbols and saints. Itong mga sculptures naman ay galing sa mga Chino and it is called fudogs. It has a symbolic meaning which is a protection from evil spirits.
So, kung makikita nyo, napakakapal ng mga pader ng simbahan na to. Kasi yun yung isa sa mga feature ng earthquake baroque na inadapt galing sa European baroque. Bali yung mga makakapal na pader na ito ay sinasabi na gawa ito sa limestone or pati sa adobe stone na nanggaling sa volcanic tuff.
Ayan, as you can see, dun sa ceiling, it is all manually painted by two Italians. They're commissioned by the church na pintuharahan yan, and it's called trompe l'oeil. It meant to fool the eye. Para siyang curved, pero lahat yan is all painted. Kung makikita niyo may mga windows, tapos meron ding mga fake windows. Yung mga bilog na yan. Kung makikita niyo sa labas, sa design ng roof, merong tinatawag ng mga dormer roof. And it is used for passive cooling kasi masyadong mataas yung ceiling para mailabasan yung init. And ayan, dito naman yung mga chandeliers. Lahat yan nanggaling sa Paris o kaya sa France. And dati, yung linya, may mga pulis yan. Binababa nila yan para i-manually na simlihan ng kandila. Pero ngayon daw, electric na daw siya. So, hindi na siya kailangan baba.
So, nandito tayo ngayon sa Ethiopia, which is built down. Tapos, umakit yung mga pari kapag bigay na sila ng yung mga message nila para sa misa. So, kung makikita natin, merong pinya sa baba, which is, meron siyang kahulugan na, di ba kapag ang pinya is, pinupal natin yung ulo niya, pwede natin siyang kunin ulit. So, ang sabi, kapag namatay tayo, meron tayong ulit buhay. So, ganun lang yung ibig sabihin ng pinya.
Pagkatapos natin masabi na matalakay yung dito, nandito naman tayo. Tuktok lang nun, andito yung area kung saan nagbimisa yung mga paring may sakit o hindi na mababa. Kahilera niyan ay yung kanilang pinagtutuluyan, yung mga kwarto ng mga pare. Kaya sa halip na bumaba pa sila, dito na lang sila pumupunta para mag-isa. Pagkatapos, kung mapapansin naman natin dito, sa sabilang dito, andito yung libingan ni Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, isa sa mga patrons o sa mga nagpasimuno, nagpondo nitong San Agustin Church. Siya at saka si Juan Salcedo, yung kanyang pamangkin, ay nakalibing mismo dito. No? So, sa likod ng silid na to, nandito nakalibing mismo si Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. Ngayon, 2 taon matapos ang pinalis ng mga Hapon, binungkal ito, hinukay ng mga British na sasakali na merong mga ginto dito sa area na ito. Ngunit ay nabangkay lang ni Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. Mapapansin mo na sa panakamay siya ng altar, representation, right hand of God. Siya yung bumuo nito, no? Siya yung nagpondo ng lugar na ito. Siya yung nagsimula nito.
Kung makikita nyo sa may taas, di ba may rose window. Tapos, yan yung choir na area. And dun sa pinaka-kanan, yan yung organ nila. So, ang taas na yun. And dati, dineliver yung mga piyesa niyan sa Germany. Para i-maintain na siya. Tapos habang binabaklas nila yung mga piyesa na, may nakita silang butas sa likod ng organ. And doon nakita yung totoong color ng San Agustin Church, which is bright yellow, bright red, bright blue, pati bright orange. Ayan.
When you step inside San Agustin Church, your eyes are tricked. The ceiling looks like carved stone arches floating high above you. But touch it and you'll find wood and plaster. What you're seeing is a barrel vault, a design borrowed from Roman engineering and the master illusion painted in the 18,000s by Italian artists Alberoni and Dibelli. The real vault is a simple, continuous half circle of wood that runs the entire length of the church, like a tunnel turned on its side. After earthquakes destroyed earlier versions of San Agustin, builders in the 16,000s chose the shape on purpose. Unlike a flat ceiling, a barrel vault doesn't crack easily when the ground moves. It spreads the weight down through the thick walls and into the ground, like an arch you can walk under. Flanking the nave are 14 side chapels, 7 on each side. These weren't just for prayer. Architecturally, they act like internal buttresses. Each chapel's thick cross wall braced the main nave walls from the inside, stopping them from the buckling outward when the ground shakes. They also created private spaces for prominent families and religious orders. The internal buttressing in the San Agustin Church is unlike the massive stone buttresses you see outside. These supports are hidden in plain sight. They let the church have height and open spaces, while still resisting seismic forces. It's practical and spiritual at once. The same walls that frame a chapel also save the building. That's why San Agustin survived 7 major earthquakes and World War II. The chapels weren't just for worship. They're part of 400-year-old engineering strategy, strength disguised in sacred spaces.
So with this, isa sa mga naging adaptation ng Pilipinas. This one is comparing sa original na thickness ng wall. This is much more thicker and slanted to support the load. So, isa sa mga naging advantages sa Agustin Church is naging malapit tayo sa Manila Bay. And since naging malapit tayo sa bodies of water, makikita natin dito na gumamit sila ng tapestry shells which is abundant sa area.
Located in Intramuros, the San Agustin Church is mapped at approximately 14.5896 degrees north, 120.9747 east, placing it at the corner of General Luna Street and Real Street in southwestern part of the walled city. Its coordinates highlight a strategic position along key colonial roads near landmarks like Fort Santiago and Casa Manila, emphasizing its accessibility and central role in Intramuros' historical and urban layout.
Makikita nyo sa aking likod ay ang original na altaris o ang retablo ng San Agustin Church. Ito ay iniiwan sa sakristia dahil hindi na nakaayon ang style na ito dahil kung makikita nyo merong Ionic at Corinthian column na hindi na naaayon sa Baroque style. Kung makikita nyo sa aking likod, ang santo na ito ay walang kamay dahil ninakaw ito ng British noong inoccupy nila ang Pilipinas dahil ang mga santo na ito ay gawa sa ginto at ivory. So, nandito tayo ngayon sa lugar kung saan sabi nila ng mga pagkitaw dyan daw nag-aasa yung mga babae ng mga Hapon. Dito naman, nandito yung cabinet na kung saan ay gawa sa marami. Ibig sabihin matibay siya at mabigat. So, dito nagtatago yung mga bata o mga babae na ayaw maghasa ng mga Hapon.
So here we are at the cloister of San Agustin Church. This is where the facilities of the botanist/priest used to be. So dito nagtatanim kami nga naman, naglalagay ng iba't ibang pinag-aaralang halaman o herbaryo ng mga pari. Pero ngayon is ito na lang parang pwede, yan na lang po na pwede benta ng mga tao.
Good day, guys. As we stand here outside San Agustin Church within Intramuros, Manila, you can already notice how massive and well positioned the structure is. From this exact spot, makikita natin that the church sits on a corner lot bounded by two important streets called Calle del Palacio Royal, or known today as General Luna Street, and Calle del Parian, also called Real Street. Now, Calle del Palacio Royal function as a royal route because it passes near the governor's residence, making it significant for official and processional activities. On the other hand, Calle del Parian connected key access points like the Parian districts, which was a center for Chinese trade, and routes leading towards the city gates and the shore. Because of this location made the church highly visible and accessible, especially during religious processions. And at the same time, kahit nasa busy network siya ng roads, the church is positioned slightly away from the main defense structures, giving it a more peaceful environment, ideal for religious practices. If we also consider kung gaano kalapit yung Intramuros sa Manila Bay, we can see how geography played a role in both accessibility and planning itself. And as you can observe the thick walls from here, you'll notice that these are not only for protections, but also a response to the geological conditions of the area, such as the combination of alluvial soil and the frequent earthquakes. So standing here, makikita talaga natin how the church's exact placement between these two historic streets and within the environment. This reflects a careful balance of function as well as accessibility and adaptation to nature.